The scene opens without explanation. There is a woman in a small apartment in the city. No yard, no soil visible anywhere, just a windowsill, a glass jar, and something green growing out of it. She's cutting leaves from a plant that never seems to get smaller. She puts them into a bowl, quietly, like she has done this 1,000 times, and she has. That plant cost her less than $1. Years ago, she has never bought it again. What you're seeing is not a trick. It is not expensive. It does not require a garden or a greenhouse or any special knowledge. There is a category of plants most people have never been told about that, once established, produce food for years, some of them for decades, some of them for the rest of your life. You buy them once, you plant them once, and then they just keep going. The system is called perennial food gardening, and somehow almost no one teaches it. This is not a new idea. The oldest gardens in human history were not rows of seeds planted every spring. They were living systems, perennial systems. The forest gardens of West Africa, the chinampas of ancient Mexico, the kitchen gardens of medieval Europe. Every one of them was built around plants that came back year after year without being asked to. There's a concept in ecology called a food forest. It mimics the structure of a natural forest, but every layer produces something edible. Trees, shrubs, ground cover, climbing vines, all of them perennial, all of them producing, season after season, with almost no intervention. Indigenous communities around the world have been doing this for thousands of years. It is only in the last century or so, with the rise of industrial agriculture and seed packet gardening, that we forgot about it. And here's the part that always stays with me. The annual vegetable garden, the kind most people know, requires replanting every single year. New seeds, new labor, new cost. A perennial garden does not. So why did no one tell us? What a perennial plant actually is. A perennial is simply a plant that lives for more than 2 years. That is it. That is the whole idea. Think of a strawberry plant. You plant it once. It spreads. It comes back every spring. You did not plant it again. Think of chives. Cut them to the ground. A week later, they are back. Think of asparagus. It takes patience in the beginning, but once it is established, it will produce for 20, 30 years. Now imagine a small space, a balcony, a strip of backyard, a few containers on a porch, filled entirely with plants like these. Plants that produce leaves, fruits, herbs, roots, without needing to be replaced. That is the secret garden system. Not a secret because it is hidden, a secret because it was simply never mentioned. How to start? From almost nothing. Step 1. Choose your plants carefully. Not all perennials are equal. Start with the ones that are generous, the ones that give a lot, demand very little, and survive neglect. Here are the ones I come back to. Chives. $1 at any nursery. Cut and they regrow indefinitely. Mint. Invasive if you let it roam. Perfect if you contain it. One plant fills a pot and keeps filling it. Sorrel. Almost nobody talks about sorrel. Lemon-flavored, fast-growing, and nearly impossible to kill. Walking onions. They literally plant themselves. The bulbs at the top fall over and take root. Kale and chard. Treated as perennials in mild climates. Let them go to seed. Let them come back. Asparagus, the long game. 2 to 3 years before the first harvest. Then 30 years of abundance. Rhubarb. Ignore it. It thrives on being ignored. Lovage. One plant grows tall as a person, tastes like celery, comes back every year. Jerusalem artichokes. Plant them once and spend the rest of your life managing how many you have. Step 2. Prepare the simplest possible space. You do not need perfect soil. You do not need raised beds. You do not need anything special. A bucket, a pot, a patch of ground. Mix in some compost if you have it. Organic matter from your kitchen scraps works fine. Water it in, deeply once. Step 3. Plant, then leave it alone. The biggest mistake people make is over-managing. These plants want to establish. They want to send roots down, to anchor themselves, to find their footing. That takes a season. Let it happen. Resist the urge to fuss. Step 4. Begin harvesting lightly in year 1. Never take more than 1/3 of any plant at once. You're building a relationship with something living. Treat it like a relationship. Take a little. Leave most. Come back. Step 5. Let it naturalize. After year 2, many perennials begin to spread. They seed. They send out runners, they multiply. You will find yourself with more than you need. Give some away. Plant more somewhere else. The system starts to grow itself. The small things that change everything. The most common mistake is impatience. People plant perennials and expect them to behave like annuals. They want results in weeks. Perennials are building something underground that you cannot see. In the first season, a plant that looks small above ground may have already sent roots 2 feet deep. That is what will keep it alive through drought, through frost, through neglect. Trust the process of establishment. The second mistake is harvesting too aggressively too early. If you strip a young plant, it cannot recover. It uses its reserves, finds nothing left, and dies. Year 1, be conservative. Year 2, be generous. Year 3, harvest freely. Third mistake, planting in the wrong light. Most edible perennials want 6 hours of sun or more. Mint and sorrel are exceptions. They tolerate shade. Know what you have before you plant. One small tip that changes a lot: mulch. A 2-inch layer of straw or wood chips around your plants does 3 things. It holds moisture. It suppresses weeds. It feeds the soil as it breaks down. You may not need to water at all after a good rain if the mulch is in place. What you can actually expect. I want to be honest with you. A container on a balcony will not replace a grocery store. That is not the point. But here is what it will do. In a space of 10 square feet, thoughtfully planted with perennials, you can produce fresh herbs, greens, and vegetables that you would otherwise buy every week. Chives on eggs in the morning, sorrel in a salad at lunch, mint in your water, kale in a stir-fry, week after week, year after year. In a larger space, even 50 square feet, you can produce a meaningful portion of your vegetable intake. Studies from permaculture research sites have found that a well-established perennial system can produce food on a fraction of the water and labor of an annual garden. One researcher found that her perennial beds required about 80% less work per pound of food after the 3rd year, not because she did less, because the system began doing the work itself. The idea that changes how you see everything. Here's the part that I keep returning to. Every lawn on every street in most cities in the world is growing perennial plants. The grass is perennial. It comes back every year. No one plants it again. We spend enormous energy keeping that system alive, watering it, fertilizing it, mowing it, and it produces nothing edible. Now imagine that same space, same soil, same rain, same sun, planted instead with sorrel and chives and strawberries and rhubarb and mint and walking onions. The energy required is similar. The result is food for life. The lawn is already a perennial garden. It is just not producing anything. That was always the choice. We just never framed it that way. Using it well, using it wisely. A few things worth knowing before you start. Not all perennial plants are edible in every part. Rhubarb leaves, for example, are toxic, only the stalks. Elderberry fruit is edible when cooked. The raw berries can cause nausea. Before you eat anything from your garden, know what part is edible and how. This is not complicated. A quick search for any plant you grow will tell you everything you need. The plants on this list: chives, mint, sorrel, walking onions, lovage, asparagus, rhubarb, Jerusalem artichokes, are all well documented and safe when used correctly. Start with those, learn them, then expand. For container gardening, use pots that are at least 12 inches deep. This gives roots room to establish. Water deeply and infrequently rather than a little every day. Deep watering encourages roots to go down, which makes plants more resilient. Feeding is simple. Once a year in early spring, top dress with compost. That is all most perennials need. Keep a small notebook. Write down what you planted and when, what produced well, what struggled. The notebook becomes the most valuable thing in the garden over time.